Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. It's the end of 2024, and I just felt like this was a good time to talk about my 2025 reading related goals. So let's get into it. Before we get into the video, I'm going to take a minute and shout out the sponsor of today's video. That sponsor just so happens to be the man that I committed to be with, the man that I am married to, my biggest supporter, who set up the camera, the microphone, everything, the lighting on point. Thank you. It's appreciated. Before I jump into the actual reading goals, though, let me give y'all a quick recap of 2024, reading wise. I feel like this year was a success for me when it comes to reading. Like, I read the things that I liked. I knocked some things off the list that I've been wanting to read for a while. I found some new authors, new to me authors that I wish I would have found sooner. Things like that. And I joined a book club. I joined a book club. That was cool to do this year. And also, I feel like I kind of refocused why I was reading in the first place. So I feel like I was able to connect to what I was reading, actually find joy in it. I like my pace. The first of the year started off kind of slow, but the last half I kind of picked up on. So that was pretty cool since it was a lot going on at the beginning of the year. That's why I was kind of reading less those first few months. But I am overall pleased with what I read this year, how much I read, why I read, and then just the different people that I got to meet. Not to mention that this is the year that I restarted my Bookstagram and Booktube account. So I feel like reading wise, this was a good, successful year for me. I was stressed at the beginning of the year because I thought I wasn't going to meet my goals. But here we are. The goals are exceeded. So let's get into my 2025 reading related goals. Goal one. This year I want to next year I want to be more intentional and buddy read with my 10-year-old more. This year we did read books together and we were able to get through them, but they were really books that were like required reading for his homeschool. So this next year I want to be able to have him pick books that he really enjoys because he's a bookworm, and I actually read alongside him so we could talk about it, discuss it, and things like that. So like in 2024 he was really into the Animorph series, manga books. So I'm excited to see what he picks next year. I feel like it would be a good time to bond. It's something that we both enjoy. And also, like, there's joy, like when you read younger books or books that's meant for like elementary school kids. Well, he'll be going to the 6th grade soon, but when you read books that are like at that level, I feel like even though they're simplistic in a lot of ways, it's a lot to be learned from them. It's a lot of like simple joy that I don't typically see in books that's like marketed towards adults. So I'm excited to see what he actually chooses, what we get to read together, the conversations that we have about it. And I want to make sure that we do that more on the leisure side as opposed to like required homeschooling side. So that is number one. My second reading related goal is that I plan to put a cap on how late I read. So the past couple of months I've been struggling with like actually going to sleep. And when it gets to that point, a lot of times I'll reach for my phone and just like read a book on the Kindle app. Or if I'm somewhere where I can actually turn the light on, I will like read a book. And it's just a vicious cycle. Like, I already can't go to sleep, and then I turn around and pick up a book, and then it's good. And even when I get sleepy, I'm staying up even longer than that. So I am putting a cap. I intend to put a cap on how late I read, and I don't want to read past 1 a.m. I know that sounds late for a lot of people, but for me, that's pretty good. It'd be a huge improvement from what I did this year. So I am going to put a cap on how late I read, put a limit up, a hard stop at 1 a.m. I will not be reading past 1 a.m., Lord willing. Number three, this year I'm going to reread some of my favorites. Like, I'm gonna do a blast from the past almost, especially with some classics that I've read previously, but I want to read them again. One, because I feel like the older I get, the more my perspective changes. I get to look at books and read them from a different lens. I appreciate things more than I used to. And then two, I feel like some of the stuff that I read before, like I knew it was a good book and I liked it. And I'm like, yeah, it was good, it was fine. But now that I'm in my 30s, I feel like I like the story and I kind of remember it, but I feel like I was missing something at that point. So I want to revisit some of the books that I enjoyed way back when, even if it's like 5 years ago, because there's a couple of books that I want to reread that I really liked then that I feel like now that I have a fresh like perspective or a different set of eyes, I should reread. And then I want to come here and share like my initial views, what I thought the first time I read it versus what I think now, and see just kind of like how that changes and prepares. I mean, like changes and compares. I want it to be like a reflective year, you know what I mean? So that's something I want to do. Revisit some of my comfort reads. The first book that ever got me into reading was A Secret Garden. I haven't touched it since I was in middle school, so I want to pick that back up and read it and kind of bring that back to y'all and share what I think now. And then if I could point out like what was it about it when I read it in the 7th grade that made me love it, and do I still feel that way now? Do I still see that now? So that's what I'll be doing for my third reading related goal. And lastly, number 4, I want to start to join another book club. I told y'all like I was excited to actually join a book club in 2024. We meet once a month in person and it's great. I like the people, I like the books that we choose, I like the conversations. It's a lot of different perspectives. It's not like it's not an echo chamber. We all like view the books differently. It's really good discussion and that's great. I'm reading books I wouldn't normally read, i.e., Remarkably Bright Creatures, Before We Were Yours, things like that. But I do want a different style of group too. I don't want to leave that book club, but I want to join another one because I feel like I just want a little bit of diversity. Like I want that book club, but I also want to join a different one where we kind of read different style books and there's different kind of personalities over there too. So that the second one that I joined, it could be virtual, but I mean, I'll look in person, but to be honest, I probably don't want to join another one in person. But I'm going to look around, see what I can find, because I do want to join a second book club in 2025. One that's kind of low key, because the one I'm at now is also low key, but there's like a general cap on page length. It's unwritten and unsaid, but we try to keep it respectful because we moms, we got kids, we homeschool, stuff like that. So I want to join another book club that's a little more open with a wide range of genres as well and a totally different group of personalities. So that is my fourth reading goal for the year. Before I close this video though, I want to encourage y'all a little bit or just share some thoughts that I have going into 2025 and reading if you're thinking about like different reading goals that you set. One, don't let people bully you into reading what they want to read, or don't let people bully you and shame you for what you read. I feel like, again, now that I rejoined Bookstagram and Booktube, there's a certain subset, not all people, I don't even think it's the majority, but a certain subset of people that like want this elitism in a reading community and just don't just choose to not engage. Like read what you like. Remember why you're reading, whether that be it's an escape, you want to be challenged, you like it, you want to travel without traveling, you want to learn something, and really focus on that. And if you create content around reading, I highly suggest that you get back to like when it gets to the point where it can be stressful, like why are you doing it? Because you like to read, and literally shut out like all the other noise. So also remember that people read for different reasons too. Like not everybody reads for the same reason you read, and I don't feel like you should go into the year putting your standards on other people too. As nicely as I could say it, like literally worry about your own goals and your own intent in your own reading for like all intents and purposes. Also, as far as creating reading goals, your reading goals are for you. They're very personal and very much individualistic. So, if I want to count magazines in my reading goal, like that's my choice. If you want to count audiobooks in your reading goals, you should. That's your choice. If you don't, that's on you. Like again, that's your choice. If you want to count coloring books that's got text on it and it's literally like your goals. So again, don't let people bully you into upholding their standard when it's your stuff that you paid for and spent time reading. That's all I wanted to say. I'm excited for 2025. I don't really have a numerical reading goal in mind. I feel like if I feel like I'm reading enough, then I'm reading enough. And that's just how I'm going to the new year. But let me know what y'all reading goals are in the comments. Do you have a numerical number? Let me know what it is. This year I did have a numerical number. I had 50 and I exceeded that. But the point is I feel good with how much I read. And if I read one book and I felt good, then I felt good about it, So let me know. I hope y'all have a great rest of the year, the little bit that's left, and a great next year.